Another morning again inside we had plenty things then they happen. I wonder how news again what go here today. But this be small country we had. Anyway, before I go to the wala now we had, let's just go to the kitchen and check my colors.
Yes, colors. Some man really like for it in the morning. Some people say them just like when they eat don't sleep. Other people say na the cow they like, especially when they cook the soup or plasas where they like pass all. So now that make we dey bring to you this program where we call Colres, as we dey look at different story them na the front page and inside the newspaper.
Another morning again inside we had plenty things then they happen. I wonder how news again what go here today. But this be small country we had. Anyway, before I go to the wala now we had, let's just go to the kitchen and check my colors.
Yes, colors. Some man really like for it in the morning. Some people say them just like when they eat don't sleep. Other people say na the cow they like, especially when they cook the soup or plasas where they like pass all. So now that make we dey bring to you this program where we call Colres, as we dey look at different story them na the front page and inside the newspaper. So not forget to join we 8 a.m. salon time from Monday to Friday, both
Another morning again inside we had plenty things then they happen. I wonder how news again what go here today. But this be small country we had. Anyway, before I go to the wala now we had, let's just go to the kitchen and check my colors.
yes, colors. Some man really like for it in the morning. Some people say them just like when they eat don't sleep. Other people say na the cow they like, especially when they cook the soup or plasas where they like pass all. So now that make we dey bring to you this program where we call Colres, as we dey look at different story them na the front page and inside the newspaper. So not forget to join we 8 a.m. salon time from
Another morning again inside we had plenty things then they happen. I wonder how news again what go here today. But this be small country we had. Anyway, before I go to the wala now we had, let's just go to the kitchen and check my colors.
yes, colors. Some man really like for it in the morning. Some people say them just like when they eat don't sleep. Other people say na the cow they like, especially when they cook the soup or plasas where they like pass all. So now that make we dey bring to you this program where we call Colres.
Welcome to another beautiful edition of your program where we call Colgas right on. We are on YouTube and on Facebook. Well, like all time we dey look at the front pages of the newspaper them and bring come the Master Sabi posting where they actually come and help we for watch the different story them we don't come out inside the different newspaper them for that particular morning day. Well, for today, like always, we get the one week always they analyze things them for we the way how it's supposed to be, not the way how in one time for be. We keep very much good for Monday morning for let we get the real vibes from a seasoned journalist we can they also for talk to we on different things them. Well, before we go to the journalists where we get inside the program this morning, we actually they go first and begin watch the different paper them where we get inside the program. So we go there on top of situation. And of course, we they start with the paper them we already don't set for you inside the program this morning. Well, who's one we start with first? Who's one we first they come inside? Let me go. Yes, we actually start with Forum newspaper for this morning. Yes, Forum newspaper. Now the first paper where we get inside the show this morning. The Forum newspaper say, APC, let's put our egos aside. And they quote Honorable Ibrahim Bundu. And you get SLPP wins PR system case. Obama eyes Cambia District Council seat. Ex-minister endorsed Samora Kamara today. God. Anyway, we go to the next paper for this morning. We are the Indigenous newspaper. It says, as part of their commitment to promote girl child education, Zainab Tholi of KPS wins the first Kisii Inter-Primary School Spelling Bee competition for girls, sponsored by Women's Empowerment Foundation. And you get Sierra Leone Free Education Project to account for $455,000. Commissioner Robert Kondima to chair Glory Man River Union University Literary Competition. And the Ministry of Transport and Aviation clears the air on the Suma Airport deal. This another story there for you inside the Indigenous newspaper. And the next one, now the Africa 24, where say ACC, Big Fish, Cashapp J. Holland Cole. And you get Sierra Leoneans frown at Pepel Rail Agreement. Also inside this particular paper, you get PL System stands. You get 68 heads of EMF former groups trained. And you get Mamama Airport was just a dream. This another story there for you inside the Africa 24. Next one, now the News 24, where it says sealed and settled. Supreme Court okays proportional representation for 2023 election. And you as well get Water Minister monitors Guma project. SLPP NAT, Young Generation Council to host delegate conference in Kenya. This another story for you inside the News 24. And the next one for this morning, very sorry about that. Now the Women's Voice will say, Chairlady reignites hope of Ward 422 constituents. And Save the Children donates to FSU and CHC in Yumkela district. MPs hail Leone Rock Metal Group for mass employment. And the SLP female football team gets new manager. This another story there for you inside the Women's Voice. And of course, one small part of the paper say, hands of our girls. Next paper where we get this morning, now the AZ newspaper where say President Bio discloses $649 million initiative to develop agriculture in Sierra Leone. Supreme Court validates PR system for 2023 general election. ZCC to award 80 patriotic citizens for national service. And the Chinese ambassador encourages Sisla to promote Sierra Leone-China friendship. This another story for you inside this particular paper on the AZ newspaper. Provincial Times say PR or no PR. Supreme Court agrees with President Bio. And you get Arise Integrated Industry Platforms Limited agreement will contribute immensely to Sierra Leone economy. This is another story there for inside the Provincial Times newspaper. And you get the Independent Observer where say, I am best placed to unite Sierra Leone. Ambassador Omri Goli. And PC by Coup the Third calls for weekly payment of salaries. This another story inside the Independent Observer. The next one are the C4D media where say over cancellation of contract with King Hope. Investors worry over certainty of investment. PR ruling for straight independent presidential candidate. A perspective on law enforcement and human rights in Sierra Leone. And you get Minister of Labour pushes for enactment of Work Permit Act. This another story for you inside the C4D media. The next one, the Salon Compass. Salon Compass, we say the atrocities of SLPP, the state capture. And you get massive endorsement for Samora Kamara. This is another story for you inside the Salon Compass. You get the Calabash newspaper, we say Mines Parliamentary Committee assures Mines Minister of maximum support. And again, for conduct of June 24 elections, Supreme Court endorses constitutional use of proportional representation system. And I am best placed to unite President Sierra Leone Ambassador Omegoli in the quotes and PR Indus Prince Macaulay presidential bids. This another story there for you inside the calabash for this morning. Global Times say President bill to launch biometric ID cards today. PR system Supreme Court judges says President bill acted lawfully and I am best placed to unite Sierra Leone Omegoli. The solutionists say Supreme Court dismisses PR case. NPPA releases public procurement price norm. And you get Chadi partners engage market women. This another story for you inside the solutionist. And the next one, now the Salon Times newspaper will say it's left to you to follow me or decide otherwise. KKY tells NGC. And VP launches University Endowment Fund and government to commission $230 million plant for Leone Rock Metal Group. And you as well get small Chinese Spring Festival celebration wows online audience. This is another story for you inside the Salon Times newspaper. And the Sky Times say community resident calls for nullification of rail agreement. PR stifle Prince Macaulay presidential bid. President Bio commends Honorable M.M. Selou and party supporters welcome Abubakar Kamara Taylor bid for APC organizing secretary, Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources, and will PR reduce APC dominance in parliament. This is another story for you inside the Sky Times. Daybreak as government to refund us $200 million. Mines minister in hot water. This another story there for inside the Daybreak. The Aoko newspaper say APC MP councillor fails in PR system. Battle Vice President launch University of Sierra Leone Endowment Fund. Minister of Finance NIG converge to scale up regional electricity access, and the PR ruling is full of promise and pregnant with possibilities. Dr. Abdullahi Kandeh. This is another story there for inside the Aoko, and the last one for this morning. Now, the Congo Times newspaper which says Supreme Court OK PR system for 2023 election. Omegoli hobnobs with APC veterans. This is another story for you inside the Congo Times newspaper for this morning. Well, now the paper like this way we actually don't get inside the program this morning. And we go now for let me begin look at the difference to read them how we can give the rights test way they suppose forget. So we can go now and join we own analyst who don't get we own Master Sabi man we always dey inside the program for lay give you the taste of the morning, the tea of the morning, and that super taste. You already drink coffee in the morning, you know exactly what at the time for talk about when you get somebody we actually sabi prepare, you know, coffee, we sabi prepare. They get how they can call some of them coffee and they will get that chocolate, yeah. I know how to use other language for describe that day. Anyway, so we go now and get with your man. We now Melvin Tijan Mansari, resident parliamentary reporter, and same way so the 5-star for the Couriers program in terms of how it can do in analysis now morning. Welcome to the show, Melvin Tijan Mansari. I don't Congo Sayute and I don't go. I go out for the people that as well draw their attention to this particular thing because I don't tell you in your Facebook, I need to tell you let me family members there as well know about this thing. The studio you get, I really they in love with the studio, especially the background and you know it's just too unique, eh? And you know we not a mismatch. You know the studio just match up with waiting that you aid. So yes, now very cool studio and for match up with the TV inside it. All right, so one more time, welcome to the show.
Plenty thank you. You get me at the program. Thanks so much for always, bringing this show to the producer and so the fervent viewers. Thanks so much to them. Interestingly, this studio, I deliberately set them up because of the Coolest program and we had a project. So don't be surprised. All of this you are seeing as a result of your inspiration and your urge for bringing family and nothing but the best in journalism. So you are one of the influencers behind this modest studio.
Okay, I'm grateful for you, that kind of thing there. Anyway, I see a lot of things them inside the newspaper. I go deliberately pick certain things then. Because I see, like, for example, let's just go to the first paper the way I begin. I laugh at one point where I read one particular headline where it drew my attention to something. Let's just watch if I can see that particular paper there. If not, I think we can go and as we go along, we go actually get to see the paper again as we go. Yes. Okay. I'll start with this one. The Independent Observer. Not for the story, this really well laugh over, but I want for Yeri, what do you think? Maybe because you didn't have parliament, you go there, Yeri, this thing. PC by coup, the third, now member of parliament, right? Paramount chief member of parliament.
Of course, yes.
So
Yes.
actually, the story now I say PC by coup, the third. I don't know if maybe I can miss the person. PC by coup, Kanabao, are the same person?
Of course. PC by Ku Kanabaro Sankar the third.
Exactly.
Representing Tonkolili district.
Before we talk about the issue, you see them people there. Now one of the influential people in this inside the country. Inside the last government, except if I get it wrong, this, Ernest Baikoma been get some remote control them. One of them now be at first now be Imama. When Imama pass, then you get this paramount chief where Ernest Baikoma be the listen to seriously. So if Ernest Baikoma fail or succeed, this particular individual is responsible for some of the things that will happen inside the country. Because anything we say to Ernest Baikoma na be cut. Anyway, let's go to the issue of the day. PC by Cook about Asank. Hey God. Call for weekly payment of salaries. What is basically be trying to say?
Basically, during that submission day in one of the legislation passed last week or deliberated upon last week, it's simply the try for talk say the standard of living, the cost of commodity prices, among other things, cannot just bear with a 1 month system where we get NASA. And there, if people earn submit, then governments will begin use the American style of payments of wages when I do I think bi-weekly. And that is his argument. His argument that people in the wait 10 months done are miracle for let them leave. So government need to take a U-turn as to when and how then they pay people there. Because even the corporate way then they pay enough. Let's talk about
The truth
the
of the
time.
matter is, forget weekly payments, it's fine. But you look at the risk behind that day. Because governments need for begin fair money first before you're able to pay, before they talk about weekly.
Well, if you put that into context or perspective, yes, government will tell you to get readily available funds. But apparently, if you look at the existing system, most Sierra Leoneans, they will review the story, we are living by miracle or magic because the monthly wage of many people cannot take them for even 2 weeks. So, by crew is saying, then government need for review. But you're right, is the funding available for that change when we know, although these governments not reach that level 8 wherein they're not going to pay workers, but we know say 1 or 2 utility service providers, they're always on the complaint that, well, either they pay delay or they not pay them on time. So that's quite interesting. But I think that is just an ordinary call, because the finance minister, because the labor minister, this was basically on a labor legislation, talking about migrant workers and all of these things. And as it stands, it's almost not practicable, looking at the state of the economy, looking at the unwillingness of the government, among several other factors.
Okay, so I go still one follow talk about waiting the bring can couple inside the how you call them, the the country, you know. When we see this BNTM, a lot of people in the carry a particular story we get for do it, you know, mining agreements and all of them things in the. Let me look at this story. Basically, we see the Kamnaya. So from this paper when at the C for the media, get this story where they can say over cancellation of contract with King Ho. Investors worry over certainty of investments. What do you think of this?
Well, the background there is, firstly, it's not a cancellation of the contract, contrary to that report. I was there when the minister was interviewed. Just last Friday, King O was also there. The bottom line remains there is an existing 6 or 7 years contract with 2-year exclusive rights being given to King Ho. Apparently, that 2 years of exclusive rights to the rail and ports facility as effluxed without end. The bottom line remains again, the agreement seems to get ambiguity over when the 2 year done, how and when governments, what will be the government's role in bringing in other players therefore use the ports and the rail facility. And since that is not countenanced, there's a lacuna with government. Well, I want to say, let's just be prudent. There is a lacuna where government don't capitalize on, where seemingly not get a positive message where it is sent, wherein they probably don't engage in dialogue and consult with the other side. But as per the agreement no expire it, but the agreement for the exclusive rights we King Obin gets on the port and rail in done. And it done now, government take upon themselves, say it's been terminated. So technically, it's not a termination, it's an effluxion, but apparently it was done in a rather unholy fashion, wherein the other side was not consulted by the government, which is King Ho.
Okay, so government decided to take on the decision without King Ho, they not reach to them at all. Now that you say?
Exactly so. Because the contract, yes, now that's what I mean, because the contract no specify how government will go about with the 2 years done and waiting for the government. And I don't see a lot of PR around this issue. Some in favor of King O, others in favor of the new company, some against governments and so on and so forth. But I think the bigger picture is, as the mining sector benefited unions the way we should expect, the answer is no. We still, if you look at the MCC reports, we've still not been able to on natural resources. And among them is the mineral resources that we get. And if you look at mining communities, some of these companies, they've operated for donkey years, but yet still poverty is rife in those communities. Environmental degradation is high, and so on and so forth. So do we have beneficiation from our mineral resources? I think that is the fundamental question, because at the end of the day, be it King Ho, be it another company, their aim is to maximize profits. Their aim is to export our raw materials to China and elsewhere. And unfortunately, we've not been benefiting a lot. But I listened carefully to the minister while he was being grilled in parliament. And he is saying under the new agreement, there are provisions that these raw materials are going to be processed here in Sierra Leone. If that is to hold sway, I think that is the way to go. Because we still buy zinc every price now. So, but the iron ore and go use to make the zinc, now they come out. So who does that? Only governments in Africa, where we still not to protect with its natural resources, and they no more can do that. So for me, I think the bigger picture is not about the companies. Yes, the companies might scared or fold up. The other day, we see a company take the government to an international court of arbitration. So yes, it's technically undermining investors' confidence in coming to invest in the mining sector. But they themselves should not be shifted off the radar screen, because you ask yourself the millions of profits that they make, and you ask yourself whether it gets a bearing on the communities the way that they operate. And for me, I think it's far-fetched. Go to Konon, go to all these mining communities and ask yourself, within mining, whether diamonds they don't be a blessing or a curse. And technically, it's unfortunate that we've not benefited much from our mineral resources.
Okay. So this story and I actually a laugh. I really need you for get your own take on this particular story. The story not very much important, but I think I get why we are made look at it. So let ask you this question. Look at this headline we didn't put here. The Forum newspaper say Obama eyes Kandeh District Council. What think you in mind?
If we're talking about Kandeh District Council, we are talking about the demise or the on the verge demise of the NGC. We'll be discussing another paper where Yumkela is making what I'll call a very, very political statement, whether you want to go with town, go with town. So if somebody is eyeing Kandeh, firstly, from what party, I suspect Obama is coming from APC. It's not the US President Obama. And if he's eyeing that council, since mind you, the NGC,
go ahead.
Mind you, the NGC has got their political heartland
Obama Kandeh, yeah.
And the Obama here should be one of those names in the APC wanting now to contest for that seat. I stand to be corrected at the report, but I think the thing here is NGC should be getting in because their life is on a life support, because the personality around which the NGC was established, Honorable Dr. Yumkela, is seemingly going back to his roots based on rhetorics and statements he's making now. And now it's seemingly going to be the case that Kandeh is going to be up for grabs between the SLPP and the APC. So the bottom line there is Kandeh is going to be the next frontier for political battling for Stronghold.
So if that be the case, we go straight and look at this particular story within at the Salon Times, we related to exactly what you talk about. So, the Salon Times newspaper say it's left to you to follow me or decide otherwise. So whether if now you not for make una decision, whether una want for follow me or una want for make una decision for do it or whatever una want for do up to now. This come as a result of audio where they circulated on the social media. Well, if for a long time we don't talk about this issue, Kandeh Yumkela. Tell me about this thing. You don't follow.
Well, certainly, if this report is anything to go by, that those are the actual words. Mind you, Salon Times are one credible newspaper edited by
me don't listen to the audio. I actually don't listen to the audio. And Yumkela Dande, and very clear with within Salon Times they talk. And
but
in fact,
again,
he talks something where Salon Times not put here. He say he actually there in conversation with the president, and he will continue for discuss with them until they reach to the point where they're supposed to reach.
Well, I hope he is not beating the gun or putting the cat before the horse. Because if you are still in conversation with Mother Bio, we're not picking 188, then it means that something is there to offer. But what is going to be offered is the big question everybody is waiting for an answer for. So it's becoming clearer now that Yumkela is going. But he is not saying where he's going clearly. Other than we can make conjectures that he's in talks with Mother Bio, and that is sending a message that he might be going back to his root. But if he's going back to his root, he should not forget that Natil Mimpula na SLPP. And the question we always don't ask, then they don't change now. And again, he is treading on a dangerous path. Having assurance from Mother Bio alone, yes, one will say he's the president, he's now in charge, but is he speaking the language of the SLPP or the pauper? It's going to be a very, very, very crucial one for Honorable Dr. Yumkela, because now it goes to the bigger picture, the fate of his followers, the fate of his supporters, and more so the fate of his political party. So if he is saying, if you want to follow me, well, for follow you go side, or go do it in at the first question. If you want for left, who side the left, when we know it's unlikely that NGC is going to survive without Yumkela. So as it stands, he is putting his supporters into what I would call political pendulum. They cannot be here, not there, and he's allowing them now. Yes, one will argue that he's been democratic, but at what expense? At the expense of people believing in him left in despair or disillusioning, it's quite crucial for him, and I hope he's thinking deeply over it. But it's obvious that Madabio wants him. I don't know if SLPP or Paupa wants him still, but Madabio wants him. And what is he bringing to the table? Will he be able to deliver Cambia? Will he be tougher than Julia Jallo with his third largest ethnic group bloc vote, which we know is not a solid or a concrete vote, meaning the fuller vote? It has always been a spoiled vote between the APC and the SLPP. So it's going to be very politically, well, I don't want to use elusive, but quite intrinsic for not only Yumkela, but for President Madabio, for NGC, for SLPP, through Paupa, and above all, the electorate. How will the electorate perceive Honorable Yumkela if indeed going back to his roots? It's a matter of wait and see, and how they will be voting.
One thing the way they actually know they talk about, he use one word way to me not too clear. He say he don't spend like how many years now into politics, so in the resign. So that word is what as well come out, but it's not too clear of what it mean. If not the party they resign from or they resign from active politics.
He has not given any context to that pronouncement, and I'll just call it a mere political rhetoric. You cannot resign from active politics except him, Dr. Kuroma, and Ion fulfill promise of resigning from active politics and becoming a statesman. Of course, looking at Honorable Yumkela's age, look at his political appetite, looking at his political there cannot be any way for him to say he is resigning from politics. That cannot be the case. It cannot be the case.
Alright, so the program now Colores Rights on we are now YouTube and on Facebook. We actually they discuss issues that we get for do with the issue of Kandeh Yumkela, and we as well they look at different other issues that we don't come up from this paper that we don't review inside this particular edition. We actually get Melvin, I think he gets some disturbance with calls. So it will join me back pretty soon for that we look at different issue. This paper where we just look at the Salon Times, and most often I don't listen. And later on today we will actually bring to you the full audio of Kandeh Yumkela. So check out the different platform then for the USSF area. Well, basically, this Salon Times in just quote one party say it's left with you. So it's left to you to follow me or decide otherwise. They actually now the word and the way they take from Kandeh Yumkela in words the way even they talk to NGC. And a very clear say a message to NGC be very much clear, and it left to them for interpret them how they want for interpret them, but it be very bold, it be very upright for say waiting he want for say, and even refer to people them as magu. Even they go on and talk say people they always want way in talk to Madabe for come and report to them back and affiliate down there because not to them other than them for come begin decide of waiting if they do or all of them things and they this not been the exact words them way come out of the audio from Kandeh Yumkela. So we basically wait for a year again. The reason why I love for talk to Melvin on this particular issue because in the parliament and for some time Melvin don't tell me say it don't make several efforts for actually talk to Yumkela, but Yumkela actually not able to say anything, and they say when the time reach. And exactly we hear from the audio way it basically come out and talk about say when the time reach, ain't go get for decide on waiting if or do. As far as it concern waiting very clear right now. You remember say 1 year ago he still say a old word that word where Madabio be go hip to ram na Cambia. We say Madabio presiding in the Kandeh Yumkela and young big brother also they go and that water ceremony that color in water outside they say they can talk to Kandeh Yumkela for let he return back, and Kandeh Yumkela being talk inside that particular video. They say basically the how they call them the old word. He say in the old world, in the good word they carry it as per respect in the old world. And Kandeh Yumkela in this audio as well talk about the meeting or the church service where they be hold nothing. Also, he say President Bio don't go na Cambia, so if can invite in family. So it's very clear that President Bio now him be actually invite Kandeh Yumkela and his family to Tiun. Outside then go church service, and that church service they been go viral again, where a lot of people been get different way out and they look at that particular issue there. And as far as Kandeh Yumkela concerned, if Madabio invite him to church service, he gets all the right for let it go because Madabio then president, and he will do that day for Honest by Kuruma as well. Where Honest by Kuruma been there in the office himself been say it don't work on a different angle, them different it don't work behind the scene for Honest by Kuruma. Melvin, you picture no catch up yet.
Another morning again inside we had plenty things then they happen. I wonder how news again what go here today. But this be small country we had. Anyway, before I go to the Wala now we had, let's just go now.
It's very sorry, Melvin they get some issue with the line under, but I will pretty join with soon. So yeah, I'll be trying to make an analysis into the audio. So it tell we say if Madabio invite him for go church and in get for go, and as long as him don't make him na 98.1, say anytime when them call him, as long as not for Sierra Leone, they go, and nobody not get the right for tell him whether if for go or not, you know. But other people let me get different way out and they interpret the particular audio. So like it up to anybody for giving you interpretation to this particular audio. And a lot of people they say, yeah, the man get right. And some people even say that the APC people and that the blood is out of proportion, you know, because Kandeh Yumkela they talk with the SLPP. If not the APC, they're not for being cause this kind of noise. I mean, if not the APC, they discuss with so they're not for being cause this kind of noise. But the question now between E and between Kandeh Yumkela and in chairman when Dennis Bright, whether Dennis Bright will go for follow suit or Dennis Bright will continue for stand up to waiting in believe on, waiting in be done the talk as he don't criticize this government serious one. But in the meantime, I'll take a break and fix things up and then we'll come back just now.
Another morning again inside we had plenty things then they happen. I wonder how news again what go here today. But this be small country we had. Anyway, before I go to the Wala now we had, let's just go now the kitchen and check my colors.
Yes, colors. Some man really like for it in the morning. Some people say them just like when they eat don't sleep. Other people say na the cow they like, especially when they cook the soup or plasas where they like pass all. So now that make we dey bring to you this program where we call Colres, as we dey look at different story them na the front page and inside the newspaper. So not forget to join we 8 a.m. salon time from Monday to Friday, both Facebook and YouTube. Outside we go bring to una different guests them where they can help for talk about the newspaper. We are channel for the people, the voice of the voiceless.
Another morning again inside we had plenty things then they happen. I wonder how news again what go here today. But this be small country we had. Anyway, before I go to the Wala now we had, let's just go now the kitchen and check my colors.
Yes, colors. Some man really like for it in the morning. Some people say them just like when they eat don't sleep. Other people say na the cow they like, especially when they cook the soup or plasas where they like pass all. So now that make we dey bring to you this program where we call Colres, as we dey look at different story them na the front page and inside the newspaper.
All right, welcome back. And from that break where we actually take, so we actually can go back and begin for analyze. You know, and Melvin, the last question, I've been just the time for analyze the audio in my own way. Well, we just talk about what's inside the audio. But this brings me to a question of the leader of the party, when Kandeh Yumkela, and the chairman of the party. We don't see how critical there is where don't they be with this government. You think say this call where Yumkela say it is left to you to follow me or decide otherwise. You think say there is where to go follow them, or there is where to go think otherwise, go decide otherwise. What do you think?
Hello.
Yes, you get me?
Well, firstly, sorry for the break. I monitor the sound via my monitor. I don't know what's wrong with my earpiece. I think it all went out of charge, but I'm sure you get me right.
Yes, please.
Okay. So with regards to the issue with regards to Yumkela and Dr. Dennis Bright, whether they are seen eye to eye, well, I think they don't show maturity so far in managing themselves. We normally see them disagree publicly on any subject matter. But apparently, also we see a subtle disagreement now the stance of Dr. Bright and some of the NGC members, particularly on an issue like the PR, wherein we know their position be very explicit that they are not in support. But Honorable Yumkela, on the other hand, being the chair of the Political and Public Affairs Committee, being the tell we say, well, in all in case, as in the evaluate as a parliamentary, from a parliamentary standpoint. So technically, they don't openly disagree, but ideologically, Dr. Bright and Dr. Yumkela seem for they on a different wavelength, particularly with sympathy or apathy towards the establishment or the status quo of the governing SLPP or PAUPA. So will he be able to run the affairs of the NGC post Yumkela? It's a matter of let's wait and see, or where will he be taking the NGC to if he indeed comes up to replace Honorable Yumkela? It's a matter of wait and see. But certainly, Honorable Yumkela has been what I would call a diplomatic politician, whereas Dr. Bright has been a radical politician. So how will you reconcile the two personalities against the backdrop of things we are seeing? It's a matter of very much uncertainty.
Well, so if you for describe now the NGC, how you could describe them? Melvin, you get me?
Hello.
Yeah, you get me?
Yeah, I'll get you last question.
Yeah, if you basically for describe the NGC and the 2023 election, what side you go put them?
The fate of the NGC for the 2023 election?
Yeah.
Their fate is what I would call on a thin thread. I'm afraid even if they will survive after 2023, they are not going to have the same political relevance, same political prominence, and same political stature. That's my prediction, that it's not going to be glorious for the NGC prior, during, and after the 2023 elections, because it's a political party that is based or built on two indicators or factors: the personality of Honorable Dr. Kandeh Yumkela and the diaspora constituency. So, I mean, who will represent the interests of the diaspora? Even Yumkela himself, Honorable, has not represented them well, because ask yourself, what's the whereabouts of the repeal of the dual citizenship law, which has been one of his most trumpeted campaign message, that diasporans should be able to vote and be voted for and contest for parliamentary elections. What has he done 4.5 years on with regards to that? It's a question for another day.
Alright, so let me move to another paper. We're at the AZ newspaper. We basically get a different thing where we go to. Now we go to eat business, we're at the agriculture. We see you inside Dakar, Senegal. It's then we meet for discuss the issue of food sovereignty. And in this case, they say President Bio discloses $649 million initiative to develop agriculture in Sierra Leone. Tell me about this. What do you think?
Hmm. Hmm. It, it's it's quite interesting when we talk about President Bio discloses.
Please do not patient with Melvin. He actually gets problem with his sound right now. So he will get some issue, and at the same time we don't see inside the internet as well, don't the grip and they as it turn behind the internet don't turn and they don't all and they selling not turn back now. Anyway, we will try to figure out something. This one very important for us to discuss about because if we talk about 649 million initiative for develop agriculture, wonder now how comes we reach to this amount. So we want for a from the point of view of Melville in just tell what he think. You know, we go totally different from what he made think, you know. So we do wait and see what Melville actually they say with regards this issue. Please don't forget for like and share this particular program. Don't forget for like and share this particular program, please.
Another morning again inside we had plenty things then they happen. I wonder how news again what go here today. But this be small country we had. Anyway, before I go to the wahala now we had, let's just go to my kitchen and check my colors.
Yes, colors. Some man really like for eat in the morning. Some people say them just like when they eat don't sleep. Other people say na the cow they like, especially when they cook the soup or plasas where they like pass all. So now that make we dey bring to you this program where we call Colres, as we dey look at different story them na the front page and inside the newspaper. So not forget to join we 8 a.m. salon time from Monday to Friday, both Facebook and YouTube. Usai we go bring to una different guests them where they can help for talk about the newspaper. We are channel for the people, the voice of the voiceless.
Another morning again inside we had plenty things then they happen. I wonder how news again what go here today. But this be small country we had. Anyway, before I go to the wahala now we had, let's just go to my kitchen and check my colors.
Yes, colors. Some man really like for eat in the morning. Some people say them just like when they eat don't sleep. Other people say na the cow they like, especially when they cook the soup or plasas where they like pass all. So now that make we dey bring to you this program where we call Colres, as we dey look at different story them na the front page and inside the newspaper. So not forget to join we 8 a.m. salon time from Monday to Friday, both Facebook and YouTube. Usai we go bring to una different guests them where they can help for talk about the newspaper. We are channel for the people, the voice of the voiceless.
Another morning again inside we had.
Okay, so this now the challenge of the electronics and the challenge of the internet as well. So one for apologize because Melvin actually they get a very difficult for join we back inside the program. But like we be always almost don't come to the end of the program. We will try because forget Melvin back because a lot of things and we want for discuss. This being said, we don't hear about laws them within the past in parliament where plenty people say their law and they very very much bad for the election, very bad for the country, and it go even limit people them for able for publicize things that really happen during the election. So we go one for a year for ma'am. Let me just tell you about the recent laws them. Not only in this program, it will likely be in a net for because it go nicely we get for no waiting as some of the laws that we member of parliament in the past. Because the member of parliament that includes the APC, SLPP, and the NGC and C4C. Let me just look at waiting at the laws that were in the past, whether they really did in parliament in their own personal interest or for the interest of the people. Them. So Melvin would be in a better position for update with regards to the recent laws that were in the past where people get concerned over. Well, one for big because we left the program now so, and we go join you again tomorrow. It's another beautiful edition of a program where we call Colores. And until then, join me again at net 9 p.m. Salon time as we get a lot of things that we want to discuss this particular net. As we always they come to you now frequently for being kind to you issues that we get for do with things that really happen inside the country for let you know left behind with information. My name is Sembe Pierre, the Freedom Fighter. Until we meet again, it's another beautiful edition. I want to say sorry that we come to the end of the program now. And we will join you again tomorrow. We hope and pray that it not turn so tomorrow. Until then, I want to tell thank you to the producer, Winner Elias Abba. Thank you very much for the work way you actually try for put together. Me, Sembe Pierre, God bless we continue all. Say Leone and to all, God bless we all.
Another morning again inside we had plenty things then they happen. I wonder how news again what go here today. But this be small country we had. Anyway, before I go to the wahala now we had, let's just go to my kitchen and check my colors.
Yes, colors. Some man really like for eat in the morning. Some people say them just like when they eat don't sleep. Other people say na the cow they like, especially when they cook the soup or plasas where they like pass all. So now that make we dey bring to you this program where we call Colores, as we dey look at different story them na the front page and inside the newspaper. So not forget to join we 8 a.m. Salon time from Monday